So what I'm going to start off with is just kind of give you a little background on James. When James was 5 years old, he had his first institutionalization. He was removed from the home, and he spent about 4 years at an institution in Dayton, and I'm not sure exactly which one it was. He came out of that particular place, and by age 10 he was readmitted to another institution. By the age of 26 he had had 21 psychiatric hospitalizations. In 2013 alone, just prior to coming to, about a year, 2 years before coming to the developmental center here, he had 4 admissions that year. From 1990 to 2015, he had 39 admissions. When Nicole first called me up, because I've only been in Fairfield County about a year and a half, she called me up, she goes, I have someone I need you to meet that we need to work with together. And so she started telling me about James and his history, and my first thought was, holy cow, you know? How are we going to support someone with this type of history? This is an individual who has experienced sexual abuse in his life, physical abuse, severe neglect. He's had multiple suicide attempts. He does other types of self-harm as well in the past. He exhibited aggression towards others and often would threaten people either with rape or to kill them.
In 2014, it was a really rough year. He had staff in his home was changing a lot. He, I think, ended up changing ADSs as well. He also, everything was new to him, and he just started having a lot of hospitalizations. He, in 2014, until he went to the developmental center, he had 11 hospitalizations in 1 year. And what happened was he ran out of hospital days because of that. So we had no funding for him. He couldn't be in a community. It was a nightmare. We had Paul came from Lindahan while he was at Athens to meet with James, and James decided, him and the guardian decided that they wanted to work with Lindahan. So it took about a week, I think, for Paul to get set up, and then they released James back into the community. And it was, Paul had him for 2 days, and it was a rough ride.
I remember going down to Athens and having James released to me, and hi, how are you doing? Looking down at the floor, and I'm like, what is going to happen next? So we were only out of there about 20 minutes, and he wants to use the bathroom, so we pull over in some area on 33, and he uses the bathroom, and that's where it went downhill. Back in Columbus, we knew he couldn't stay at his house in Lancaster because he wasn't ready. They released a terror to me. And I don't mean to speak negatively of James, because it's going to come back full circle when we speak about how well Cambridge did to get him set back up. At my house, we had double staff come in just to stay with him. He tried to drink his own urine. He attempted to drink gas. We took him out to eat at a restaurant where he went back into the bathroom and started eating toilet paper again. I'm not sure why he likes toilet paper. I'm not sure what color he likes, but he liked it at the time. What happened at Cambridge was profound, because that's where these slogans came that he still uses today. I think in the past, providers try to get the client to learn about our ways, and we're good, and if you're just more like us. Cambridge, which we went to every single week to visit him, and took him friends up and took him people from the community. We went out in the community and had lunches. We took him shopping. He got his iPad, which he likes very much. He got the overalls that he wears today from Cambridge. We went out and had lunches with him and got to know him.
And I want to say, I want to interrupt, I'm sorry.
No,
He did all this not being paid. He did this as a provider, as a person that he cared about James, because as you know, if he's in a DC, he can't bill for that. So he did that on his own time weekly, and to build that relationship with James. So when he would come out of the DC, he had that trusting relationship, and he would bring staff that he was going to be working with James to the DC so that James could meet them and get to know him. So.
Well, thank you. We had our team meetings at the DC. It's no surprise I met Dean in the DC. Now, it was a different side of the table, but that's where I met Dean at. Yeah. Dean brought the whole behavioral support side to things, which was kind of a foreign language to me. Thank you, Dean. We learned that James had a lot to say. James is a wonderful person, but we don't think he was probably always listened to or taken seriously. And that's what Nicole and Angel and Dean were able to do, is if James is saying something, there's a kernel of truth there. We've got to stop, slow down, and listen to him. And then we build our services from where he is, not where we are. And that was the big difference, is getting to know James very closely.
At the day program, the things that we've been doing to help him is really actively listening to what he's saying. Yes, I know that happened to you. Yes, that was horrible. You are a survivor. You are a strong person. Look at you. We need to flip those negatives into positives and really let him know you're a heck of a guy. You survived these horrible things that happened to you. Look how strong you are right here, right now, today, to be here going through those things. So we have to give him that power back. And I have a mirror in my center. So when we go by the mirror, if he's being negative, I'll say, look at that guy. Tell me something great about that guy. And he'll say, I'm handsome, I have talent, I can sing, and we do that for him all the time. Nicole and the team went out of their way to make an experience for him at a career center so that he could go and try welding. So that's really quite cool. I mean, not many people get the opportunity, and not many teams actually sit down and try so hard to make things work for someone. And I think that's been the key to our success.
He couldn't have access to any types of cords in his home, so there were no extension cords, there were no cords on drapes. He couldn't have draperies in his home. He couldn't have any poles in his home that he could hang himself from. And the list went on and on and on. It was
No belt.
no, that's right, no belt. So we had to make sure his home was going to be safe for him. Paul's staff, Angel's staff, anyone that was going to be interacting with him needed to know how to do this. So we created a training, and Cambridge came down and joined us. They trained us on the things that they were doing here, and then we took their stuff and elaborated on it for how it would be done in the home. Our first goal was 30 days. We thought we would be doing a great job if we could just keep him out of a hospital for 30 days. So we met weekly for 2 hours, and we met some challenges. I know within the first 2 weeks, I think he ended up in the emergency department. And Paul called me at home, I think it was on a Saturday or a Friday night or something like that. And it's like, James is in the emergency department. I'm like, oh crap, already? But I have to, congratulate Paul and his team, because they fought with the emergency room doctor to keep them from sending him back to Athens. And Paul fought, and his team fought, letting that doctor know, look, we're ready for this. We know what to do. We're prepared to support him in his home. We can't start this pattern again. We need to keep him home. Another big thing we did is we recognized James for his successes. Whether it was just time out of a hospital, we started it at 1 month. This is his certificate for being out of the hospital for 1 month. Then we did 3 months, then we did 6 months. And then when we hit a year this past summer, we threw a party. James is an Elvis nut. He loves Elvis Presley. Paul went out and found an Elvis impersonator to come to our party, and James got to sing with him. So the effort by this team, and all of us have put special effort in different ways. And I'm going to share this moment with you, because this was the turning point. And all of a sudden, James, at one of his meetings, he turned to us and he said, I want to invite my family over for a holiday dinner. I almost started crying. This was the first time I heard James talk about the future without a hospital admission in it. Now our goal is never. That is our goal at this point, that James would never have to go back to a hospital for psychiatric care again, that he can remain in his home and in the community.